Hi guys, welcome to the vid. It's Dynamo here, the electricity prophet. It's another catastrophe happening here. So, the battery's at 98%, so there's plenty of battery. When you use the battery, it's limited to 3000. When it's getting used, it'll show discharging, this color, and it'll show the amount it's discharging by. So in this case, it's 490, but that can go up to 3000. And so when I see them ripping me off, so basically the load here is accounted for by 3000 when the battery's got it available, meaning in this case 2184 is required. We can see how much is coming in from the solar, well over that, and yet for the last 20 minutes I've been sitting here watching them taking feed-ins as well as grid consumption, and they do this every day. And how they do it is it's based around the hot water. So they apply the hot water load on you at currently my local time, it's 11:24 each day, which is the one I tend to heat my hot water on. I turn my hot water off after that every day. It's roughly 2 hours later that I'll turn it off, because what they'll do is they'll go and heat your hot water up 2 more times during a 24-hour period. And so this way you'll save a whole lot on your bill, because you don't actually need that much hot water. And so this is something that they've done that has made it horrible for anyone that's used to having cheap hot water and a analog meter. So this is all the outcome of the new smart meter being put in. And the other thing about the smart meter that's a truth that I need to express is that they've basically engineered it so that you have to use power to get your money's worth when it's available free on your solar. That's the whole thing here. And so really effectively, once you stop using all your power as much as you can to save money, because they're screwing everyone, and then fitting in, you come to realize that how they've actually engineered, it's kind of reverse engineered in our favor is what they've done. And what I mean by that is there's solar available that could have heated this hot water up an hour earlier in the day. And so every day they help themselves to the first fruits of my equipment, all for themselves. And the reason that's the case is because they control when the controlled hot water goes on. And when you change from going from a analog meter to a smart meter, and they've recently publicized and everything, they're trying to put it all set in stone with everyone, that regardless, you have to pay peak or whatever rate they choose when they put the hot water load on. So this is all part of what they're doing. And I'm just beside myself about it. I mean, how can they go and hijack my equipment effectively, and then turn it around so that I have to, one, pay them rental fees, because they charge kVA instead of kilowatt hours now. That's what happens. Two, when my power trips out, if they haven't fixed it externally somehow, which is their smart meter capability, I have to actually ring up because the Clipser power switch doesn't work anymore. So you got to go make a, and you had to find that out. It's a complete, in my opinion, you're going backwards to what was already, the infrastructure that was already existing. And not to mention, the most horrible thing is they can just turn the power off via the smart meter. So if there's a blackout in the area and your smart meter goes off and for some reason your inverter didn't have power, well, your whole system shuts down, which just makes it completely pointless. And the other thing is, before the smart meter was on, you could not turn off the system. The system is actively connected to the grid with the battery pool aspect to it, all connected up and configured. And so effectively what they've done is they've used the smart meter to hijack your equipment like a parasite hijacks a host, and then they're completely controlling all your equipment. Along with that, they're charging you to use the wires in your house effectively, and they're not considering these aspects when you feed it into them. Um, it's completely unfair. Malcolm Roberts came out and in a statement said deceit, and he's right. It is complete deception. I haven't paid a bill now for over a year. They've got debt collectors on to me. They haven't taken me serious 3 times at least. I've contacted the Ombudsman office. I've spoken with people at SA Power, people at the Office of the Technical Regulator. And what you're going to find out is the people that installed the smart meter have also been given the ability to basically manage the power that you have to pay, as well as have complete access to every bit of your wiring in your house and then every device that's connected through the power points. So, if you charge a toothbrush, they'll know, it's just horrible. Okay, so they're basically getting this information for the rich. And effectively, it's, in my personal opinion, a complete breach of your personal privacy. The government's just given it away to an entity that's a capitalist entity. So they're just working for the interest of their shareholders. And in my opinion, this is grassroots corruption, because the metering that actually occurs through this, it reads frequencies. It's all got to do with radio frequencies. It's not actually metering the power that's being used in my location, and it's suggesting it's making falsified records that I've used power that does not reflect on the local inverter, and the local inverter has a track record of everything that happens here. And this has been part of my beef I've had with these people, and I've come to appreciate that IntelliHub and Acumen Metering, which is the branch that used to be part of Origin that handled smart meter metering, has been broken from that company and sold to the Canadians, the same Canadians that pay $2 billion to the government to grease the wheels in what? To install smart meters. Now, this same company, a whole new act has been created around its industry. It's a new industry because they tried to put it with the existing water and energy industry. And in fact, they released a new act. However, in my opinion, it was full of bogus scamming efforts to rip everyone off with smart metering, and hence it became grained out and obsolete and preceded by the preceding act. And so therefore they knew they couldn't pull their scam with their smart meter. And the smart meter, how it works, it's actually a device of obfuscation, where it throws data between 4 different points, and it's constantly malfunctioning. And when it really malfunctions, you pay for that. And basically, it's this malfunction that they use that I seek with my videos here to expose, that basically shows that down the bottom here, when you look at the graph, you're going to see this amount of grid consumption go up throughout the day, and yet this is a graph that represents my inverter. And you'll see here, at this point of day here, which was like at 4 o'clock in the morning, this figure was less. And yet, since then, when we're looking at the consumption, there's been no consumption on my inverter, and yet it's gone up. So this is what's happening. And so when you contact them, they say that your equipment is not certified metering equipment. And so this just gets my blood boiling, because they call a smart meter a certified metering device. And it's all this smart thing, and basically it's all a load of bull crap and propaganda that's letting them rip us all off. These steps with the energy regulator and all this, they've gone and put all these steps in place, and the government's left now. That government's out of office. They signed off it. We're all stuffed. That's basically what they want us all to believe. And in the meantime, and as they have been, they're continuously skimming and extorting figures through this smart meter that does not represent any sort of bona fide power usage whatsoever. And no, I'm not going to pay the bill. I suggest everyone boycott the act, and that these rich, evil, because they don't care about us, they're only in it for profits for the shareholders, that's it. companies get put in their place, and in this case, it should be in jail for the theft. And also the politicians who's been fully greased should be slipped down to the local guillotine and beheaded. Good God, you're meant to serve the people? And so what's being suggested by the visual representation here is that the battery can't provide the 200 watts or whatever it was, and this is how they do it. It's a skimming device. And don't get me started on their business tactics. One of the first things they did when they swapped the analog meter to the smart meter, because I live in the country, there was a prolonged period in which my equipment had been feeding a lot of power into the grid. In fact, something like 800 kilowatts worth of power. And so what they did, well, they turned around and said to me that I owe them for that. So that's the first bill you get after you've invested $10,000 in a good system. And I've got to say, the solar people are next to brilliant, perfect in this country. We've got a great spot for solar, and they do a brilliant job. But it's these greedy people, the government, the metering service, that are destroying solar, that are destroying the environment and ripping us all off in the process in the name of net zero. And it's just the biggest scam on the face of the planet. This is widespread corruption at grassroots levels, in that they collect your usage through that smart meter, and it's a lie when the data leaves. And what does that mean? The whole industry is defunct. And what are they doing? Oh, they are milking all the power they can get out of your system and then selling it. And I believe they've been selling it back to me even as it's produced. And I've watched over time things change. See, I've been monitoring the system prior to the smart meter, then after the smart meter. And when they started ripping off, I got really serious into it. And I've seen step over time, these little increment changes that they're pushing this new angle on it until it got blatant. Like now, it's just completely blatant. Like this is a completely malfunctioning system. The battery discharges at up to 3,000. And the other thing, when this is charging, this thing can charge at a far higher rate than this, and so there should be absolutely nothing going as a feed-in. This is all a malfunctioning system, and when you say that to them, they just balk at you and laugh. Because why? Because it's a smart meter. It's the biggest play on words and scam that the powerful have been able to pull off, that is just completely destroying, in my opinion, everyone's happiness. I mean, you ain't got good heating now, or all of a sudden you've got to completely turn the way you live on your head when you bought all this stuff. And they've rocked up and said, well, we're going to charge you for the line, the electrical cabling. They're going to rent you now for that line. That's what kVA is instead of kilowatt hour. And they've just done that to everyone. And the government's just sit here and just kept spilling the grease that I don't want to swear, and they just keep sliding, and everyone's getting screwed. I thought the government should by law have to sign this thing that says they're here to protect the people and they're here to better the place, the environment as well for the people, because they are absolutely not doing this. All they're doing is screwing everybody, making it so that you can't get any answers, making it so you can't get any justice, and that everyone's getting oiled and greased behind the scenes. And like Malcolm Roberts said, deception. It's straight deceit what they're doing here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm writing these videos. I can't stand this. This has turned my whole life on its head. And I can tell you now, they are forcing you to use the power when it's available. Why? Because you want power, don't you? Because they've basically taken it all away from you and made it that the only time that you actually get to use power is when your solar's cranking And see, so then you go, oh, okay, the solar's cranking, let's use it. But the thing is, you're already in a state of scarcity. You're, oh, look, we can use power now. In the meantime, they've just been taking that mass truckload of power. And so they really make it that you got to have your finger on the pulse if you want to put a frickin' heater on. And I kid you not, you leave one heater on after it goes dust, your battery, that 5 kilowatts will be used up in like an hour or two. Bang, gone. I mean, they're just complete criminals. This is the biggest scam I've ever had anything to do with at all. And I've seen quite a few things. I just can't believe that the people that paid the money to the taxes to put the people in the positions to govern the people, and then those people have let the corporate realm grease them and completely screw everybody. And everybody's just, and then what they're doing, they're making it that you can't communicate these things. I mean, it's almost like systematic warfare that's going on here, designed to extort us all. And the other thing about these smart meter things, right, they've got the ability, oh, you haven't paid your bill, we'll turn your power off. They've got that ability now with this thing. Other than it being a relationship, it was illegal for them to come on your property and turn your switch off. They can now do that remotely. In fact, anywhere in the world they can do it from. No, this is the big, complete, power corrupts absolutely. And that's what's happening. And it's been given away because what? Because they had the grease. And I wonder how many, are off their faces on cocaine and all the rest of it. While we, the people that gave the opportunity for them to rule over us, are suffering. Nah, not happy. It's got to stop. All right, it's Dynamo, the electricity prophet here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Help build the channel if you can. Anyway, share. All right, over and out.